All right, 1.01 is motion on waiver of formalities. Do I have this motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
What questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 2.01 is board information. Items for board information. That's Dr. Steinhoff, 2.01.
Yes, thank you very
Board
much.
information.
Thank you. Let me just open up this meeting from, and we'll be good to go. Mr. Zeb, is that coming through for you?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Armour. I want to appreciate the board for coming together again tonight to address a motion of limited nature for this evening. We have a limited agenda for this evening. The board has been very kind to come back several times to address several issues related to school board business over the course of the summer, and I want to thank them for that work tonight. As you know, we have been talking quite a bit, about our pathways to reopening, and it's been a topic of the summer. It's been, as I said, quite fluid. In fact, I've indicated on several times that every time I make a presentation, there's a caveat, right? And what is that? It's that the circumstances, the guidance, and the expectations regarding the coronavirus and its effect on a school's ability to reopen are changing frequently. And that is certainly true today. As you know, we began having these discussions all the way back in May when we were talking about how could we possibly reopen schools and get students back here. That continued through June. We had meetings in July. On July 29th, the school board approved a reopening plan that called for a hybrid plan. And at that time, that was the administrator's recommendation. We then had a meeting on August 10th. And during that day, on the day of the meeting, we learned that there was additional information from the state. And then just 4 days later, we had even further updated information that came from the Chester County Health Department. So there truly is a caveat here. I as frustrated as I can be, and as unfortunate I think that the situation is on school board members, on administrators, on teachers, on parents, on kids particularly, who kind of feel like there's a back and forth here going on. I have to remind myself that this is a first for everybody in all of these state agencies. We have never been looking at a school year, to my knowledge, where a whole region is potentially starting virtually. So it was a lot different than March 13th, where we had 2/3 of a year under our belt. This has been quite a different summer for us, for sure. So the caveat is we have a recommendation tonight, but we understand circumstances, guidance, and expectations are changing frequently. The key item on the agenda tonight: the administration is recommending that the Pendelco Board of School Directors amend its health and safety reopening plan to utilize a virtual reopening to start the school year. Why is that? Well, frankly, it's due to updated health guidance that we received from the Chester County Health Department that is recommending a virtual start to the school year. Again, the board did not have that specific information last week when it last came together. It had a more broad interpretation of what could occur last Monday. Since that time, we received information that is substantially more specific. Again, when it comes to health and safety matters in terms of reopening schools, Pennsylvania Health Department in the upper right-hand corner there a little bit, they certainly play a role. But in matters of health and safety, they're not really decisions that I believe should be made by educators. And that's why this recommendation tonight is informed by the Chester County Health Department, World Health Organization, CDC, and specialists and doctors and experts from Children's Hospital and Penn Medicine who have been speaking to school boards throughout the region in the last month. What has changed? The decision to recommend a delay to the start of in-person instruction based on one thing and one thing only: the safety of our staff and our students. And since we approved the hybrid opening on July 29th and affirmed that on August 10th, there was updated health advice and recommendations that I am in receipt of and that many districts in the southeastern Pennsylvania region are in receipt of. Districts that were hoping to give hybrid a try recognize that that hope may have to be pushed off for a bit of time. So we do have some expert advice that I want to share with you this evening. It's now clear health safety guidance on the guidance issued by the Chester County Health Department. Again, that is the health department that is overseeing Delaware County school districts. That is the health department that we have been working with and attenuating with in terms of issues that we have related to COVID. Anytime we have a potential case, they would be the experts that we call on and speak to. So they have been helping us in the absence of a Delaware County Health Department. The health department recommends that public and private K-12 schools in Chester County and Delaware County begin their academic year virtually and assess their ability to transition to a more in-person instructional model after October 9th, 2020. And you'll recall that that is the initial date that I had on a former recommendation. Such a start will mitigate any impact anticipated by increased cases due to the end of the summer holiday, and it ensures that school districts have the necessary time to implement the guidance set forth in this document. That guidance was released on August 14th, 2020, which was just last Friday. There's additional information that has been shared at several local school district school board meetings with superintendents in 4 county meetings from Dr. David Rubin, an expert. He is the director of policy lab at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, holds advanced degrees from the University of Pennsylvania in epidemiology and biostatistics, and also from Dr. PJ Brennan, chief medical officer and senior vice president of the University of Pennsylvania Health System. They both support the updated guidance and the findings and the recommendation to delay the start of in-person instruction. So, given that information, superintendent believes that Pendelco should heed the expert health and safety guidance. Accordingly, agenda item 501 is being presented tonight for your action. The administration is recommending that the Pendelco Board of School Directors revise the health and safety reopening plan so that it will say all Pendelco schools will begin the 2021 school year in a virtual format until at least October 9th, 2020. I think it's critical to note here at this juncture that this, from the get-go, was never our plan. You know, from the get-go, the school board and my office and our teachers and our staff, we want kids to come back to school. But we won't do that, and we won't assume the role, at least I won't assume the role of the medical expert in that regard. And the sooner we can get students back into our building, the better we will feel. But for the moment, prudence is more important than push. So let's take a look at, what a virtual reopening plan might look like. I haven't had to share this yet because we've only up to this point talked about a hybrid plan. Again, recent changes are forcing us to look at virtual learning solution. Pendelco Virtual, this is an at-home learning experience that's going to deliver Pendelco education. It's our curriculum. It's going to be taught by our teachers. It's not what students experienced last spring, and it's not the online Apex version that some students also were a part of. This virtual work this year will combine live virtual instruction by our staff with the support that your student and have become accustomed to. It's much more robust. There will be more student engagement, more virtual collaboration, and more measurable accountability. We will be expecting students to participate. We will expect students to turn work in. Students will be graded. So this is school. This is school being delivered. I always say we're here to teach you here, there, and everywhere. If you're not here now, you may be there at home. We are going to find you. We're going to give you the instruction that you need so that you don't fall behind. But we need support back in that regard too from our students. This academic year will open still September 8th. We're not asking for a delay with required attendance that will feature live in-person instruction. We're calling that synchronous, right? So just to go over that again, synchronous means you're in sync. So when parents mention this, they don't want to go online and just see some material that they have to teach to their kids. They want the expertise of our teachers. So you will sync in, that information will be sent to parents. Parents and students will log in, essentially Zoom in, Google Meet, and they will be able to access the high quality instruction that they would have had if they were sitting in class. Then there's also some independent time, and that's called asynchronous, right? That's when you're working on your own. That's when you're doing your projects, right? That's when you're doing your follow-up. And that also gives you kind of a Zoom break, if you will. For those of us who have been online meetings all day long, it's very tiring. So it's important to balance that, particularly with younger students. Special education services will continue. We are considerate of social emotional learning, right? We're considerate of the effect of this change on kids. And that's something that our administrators have been talking frequently about throughout the summer. I want to stress it's a temporary solution at this point in time. It's a temporary solution that's going to ensure that students can begin the school year connected with their assigned teachers so that when they come back into the classroom, when conditions change, When we go back into a hybrid or when we go to full-time in classroom instruction, that will be there for them and it'll be that more seamless. So again, the experts are saying at least through October 9th, that would be the date that we're looking at, September 8th through October 9th. To ensure that you have technology that's available, the board already approved Chromebooks, an expansion of Chromebooks to all K-8 students, in addition to the ones that we provide to Sun Valley. Demand for technology is high, but we continue to be told that these will be delivered by the end of August. We would hope to have them distributed to families and parents the first week of September. Once those come in and once we have them set up and ready to be distributed, we'll push out those distribution dates. Now, there's live instruction involved here again. It's not post and ghost where you post something online and then the teacher goes away. Formal live instruction, actual teaching of curriculum content by our teachers and our staff. There'll be some large group instruction. There'll be some small group live instruction based on the grade, based on the content area. And we want students to engage in discussions, small group instruction, do some independent work on their own. Teachers will incorporate an online community because we know that kids have to feel connected. That's the other piece to this, right?
Wow.
Might not be, but they have to feel connected. So in a typical virtual lesson, teachers are going to introduce the lesson, provide instruction, assign assignments, measure learning. We'll go over that a little bit more as we go down. I mentioned social emotional learning. We are very considerate of, again, the effect of the school closure since last March on students. We understand that that's a strain and that can be nerve-wracking on kids. Our staff will get specialized training on the SEL continuum. Our school psychologists will work with teachers to prepare lessons to address those issues. We also will have supports about anxiety, mindfulness connected to school, and our PBS teams are going to continue with a monthly review of student status. Special education services, they're going to be scheduled throughout the day. So if your child is a special education student, they will get their services by teachers and also possibly by paraprofessionals. So that will be determined based on the child's individual needs. Large and group instruction will be available as well. We'll hold IEP meetings with parents. We'll hold 504 meetings with parents virtually, so they will not have to come in to the schools. Office hours will be set up for students who need extra help, for parents that need additional support kind of managing this technology. That'll be in place. We have more tutorials to help parents understand how to log into Schoology, how to use some of the tools that we'll be pushing out, and all of that will be coming forward in the next few weeks. Again, how does this look? The way a child would log in, teacher opens the lesson, right? This is synchronous. Says, here's what we're planning to do today. Here's the objectives for the lesson. Provides the instruction, offers guided practice. Students participate. They have the conversation, right? And students have time to work on that content, to process that. And that's synchronous and asynchronous. They'll be reading, there'll be independent practice, there'll be collaborative projects. The teacher might put the students into breakout rooms. Teachers answer questions, they provide guidance, they check on progress. So students are in the house doing the work. And then as all typical lessons typically end, you have a closure. Students engage in kind of independent or group assignments to show us that how they demonstrated learning. Teachers may assign homework for that evening so that the students are ready to turn it in the next day or to talk about that. And then the teacher will make the assessment on what was learned and what can be expected for the next day. Kind of sample schedule here. All right, so here's a kindergarten. You'll see there would be on Monday morning, synchronous. You'd have a class meeting with the whole class, language arts. They would move to foundation. Here, the teacher would have the opportunity to work with two separate groups. Right? The group that the teacher's not working with could go offline. We have math and then small group math instruction again, right? So let's take a look at another one, elementary. Again, these are all draft schedules. These will be tightened up and will likely go out in the information that we share tomorrow. The way this would look Monday morning, right? So let's use Tuesday for an example, since September 8th is a Tuesday. Students have their teacher assigned, they will log in, there'll be a class meeting. Teacher will be thrilled to talk about who's in class. Everyone will get an opportunity to share with one another, you know, who's in that box, who's in my class for this year, all the exciting things that come along with the first day. There'll be a class meeting, and typically there will be language arts instruction. And we're focusing on language arts and math, the core subject areas in these first 5 weeks. Then again, switch over to a small group, right? So students will be able to work on their own, log off, while the teacher works with that small group for about 15 minutes per group. And they have their special area classes, right? So art, phys ed, the general music classes. There'll be asynchronous material for them to participate in. Come back, you got science and social studies, right? Then we have lunch. We're even talking about how you can do kind of online recess, believe it or not. We're talking about that. But you certainly have your time for lunch and a recess break. Math instruction, then small group instruction, and at the end of the day, teacher office hours, individual teacher check-ins. And we have Wednesday here separated, frankly, because last year we got a lot of feedback from parents that the Wednesday Wellness Day was much appreciated and really necessary. That's just in there on the basis from last year, but we are anticipating 5 days of instruction so that students don't fall behind. And I do need to mention, the state is not allowing districts to just kind of waive instruction. We have to get instructional days in, we have to get instructional time in, and that's what we're going to do. Middle school, here's a schedule. Students are going to follow the schedule. We're going to expect our middle school students to get up in the morning, log in, and access the class with their teachers. High school, you look at the schedule, this is the regular schedule. We're not cutting things short here. You know, high school students to be ready for college and for career. We can't have them falling behind these first few weeks of school. So we're going to expect them, typically they would be here getting up earlier to get to school in person at 7:30. They have to be there. Attendance is going to be taken. If you have a first period class on your schedule, you have to log in at 7:30 for that class. And we're not expecting our teachers to do 2 and 3 versions of work. That's not fair to them. They are delivering the lesson, and we are expecting students to log in and to be there for that lesson. And there'll be opportunities for support later in the day. So what can be expected from here? If the board approves the switch to virtual, I will issue a message out tomorrow regarding a change from hybrid to virtual to the entire community. Our virtual learning flyer that's ready to go, that's going to be sent to parents and posted at pdsd.org. We have Zoom info sessions for specific groups of parents. Special Education 504 parents, gifted IEPs, August 18th, 6:30. More information will be on the website and the links for that. People who are interested in hearing more about virtual learning, Pendelco Cyber, that's August 19th at 6:30. And then incoming kindergarten class information, August 25th at 7 p.m. School principals will now start to take over more communication since we have some certainty on what the year may look like. They'll start pushing out information and updates to the parents. At our future board meetings, I will be sharing with you the status updates from the Chester County Health Department, some of the trends and the numbers that are shared with superintendents and with the public. They are generally being updated every Friday, those metrics. Chromebook distribution dates are going to be determined once they're delivered to the district. We're actually expecting the 9th graders new Chromebooks tomorrow. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that they come in. Our back to school professional development, our teachers have several days of kind of in-service staff development before students come back. That's all being developed on how to be better at what we do teaching virtually. This is new for all of us. Teachers did not go to school to learn how to teach a whole class over a computer. So we're happy to teach them some of the tools that they can use to be better at this craft. And I think to be fair to all of our staff, to teachers in any district, anywhere who are delivering online learning, we have to expect that there are going to be some bumps. We know that. We know this won't be perfect. It won't be perfect in any school district, but our staff will be there to support, will be there to help, and we will be understanding. We will make this the best experience that we can make it. Effort will not be questioned in Pendelco. That's one thing I won't tolerate. I expect that we will help to the greatest degree that we can. We're going to continue to plan and prepare for some form of in-person instruction when it's deemed to be safe to do so. That remains our goal. So yes, we are not just kind of putting down our work in the facilities end. We're continuing to prepare for that time when students come back. We're continuing to do that work that needs to be done with HVAC and making sure that we have the PPE on hand and making sure that our desks are measured in space. So it does give a little more time in that regard. Also, we're having a bit of a delay with the entrance at Sun Valley, and a virtual start will help us with that. That's running about a week behind. So we want to make sure that we don't have any issues with transportation and with pedestrian movement in the hallways at the high school on the first week of school. We want to make sure we have plenty of room there. I'm happy to host a Zoom town hall on August 25th. So after all this information goes out, if parents still have questions, we're here to help. And I'll have another Q&A on our virtual reopening to possibly answer any questions that people may still have as we get a week further into this. Pendelco Cyber, I had some questions about that. So should I still enroll my child in Pendelco Cyber? So I think it's important for parents to understand that what Pendelco Cyber was the alternative for parents who never wanted their kids to go back to school until there was, a vaccine, or until hybrid was over, or until they felt there was more confidence. They didn't want to send their kids back really at all to start the year. Now, essentially, everybody is in Pendelco Cyber. So whatever teacher you would have had is providing cyber-based instruction for your child. So the questions and the concerns about having Apex or having some teacher that you never met, it's your teacher. These are your teachers. All students in Pendelco, all 3,423 students will essentially be getting virtual learning to start the year if this motion passes. So it's currently not necessary to enroll in Pendelco Cyber because all students are learning virtually. Many people already have. I shouldn't say many, I should say about 10%. So we have just over 300 people who have expressed an interest in cyber if school were to open under a hybrid case. You do not need to take any action. Your registration remains on hold. That can be changed. So when it comes time for students to come back in some form, you'll be able to make that decision. Do you want to come back for hybrid, come back for traditional, or do you want to stay Pendelco Cyber? So we will accommodate those interests when we get to those points. And people who have specific interest in this, I would encourage you to join us for our virtual learning Pendelco Cyber Zoom, and we'll answer those questions for you Wednesday night. I also got this question. Since Pendelco School District is now all online, can I withdraw from a for-profit cyber, right? So absolutely, this happens all the time. You have parents enroll their kids in some of the statewide for-profit cybers. For whatever reason, they want to come back. What do you do? Come back any day you want. Just call our registration office. Just indicate that you had formerly enrolled in a cyber school. Now that you know that Pendelco teachers are teaching virtually and your kids can stay in Pendelco and stay with their friends and not have to go to a new school, just call our registration office and we'll get that taken care of for you. So that's background on our proposal, the rationale, and a little bit of a taste of what virtual learning might look like for parents. Also, again, some more additional times for them to log in so we can answer some questions. I would encourage parents at any time, feel free to email me if you need additional supports, gsteinhoff@pdsd.org. We also have information at pdsd.org. We will try to get you an answer. You'll try to get someone to get back in touch with you. Sometimes it gets caught up in spam, but we'll keep an eye out for it and we'll try to give you the answers to the best degree we can. That concludes the information, Mr. Armour.
Thank you, Dr. Steinhoff. Number 3 is items for board discussion. See none. Number 4, public comments. Please keep comments to less than 3 minutes. We have 15 minutes and just for agenda items only. We'll leave our board secretary, Mr. Zebley, to take the questions.
Let me know, Mr. Zebley, who you would like me to bring in.
So you can use the raise hand function if you would like to come into the meeting and speak. Those that do raise their hand and offer public comment, please state your name, your address, and the agenda item that you're speaking about. The first person with their hand raised is Meg Greway.
Go ahead, Meg.
Hi, this is Meg. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. My name is Meg Greway. I live at 5200 Hilltop Drive, Unit J7 in Brookhaven, Pennsylvania. And I'm here to speak about the instructional model for school opening. My daughter is Grace Greway. She attended Coburn, Northley, and is now a senior at Sun Valley. I want to thank Dr. Steinhoff and all the staff who've worked tirelessly and agonized over these ever-changing circumstances over the last 5 months. I know how challenging it can be to make decisions for just my household alone. I am asking this evening for the board to stay with both the hybrid and all online model. Every day I look at the PA coronavirus website. I encourage everyone on the call to do the same. There's a wealth of information out there regarding case counts, hospitalizations, deaths, incident, and percent positive rates. In the last week, the percent positive rate in Delaware County has dropped below 5% to 4.6%. The PA Department of Health and Education released recommendations for instructional models based on the incident and positivity rate in the county. According to their recommendations and metrics, Delco falls into that moderate range, which has the option of blended or virtual. The Chester County Health Department is recommending virtual until October 9th, not because of the current data, because also with their recommendations, we would be in line for hybrid or virtual model, but because they anticipate, and I quote, increased cases due to the end of summer holiday. I do not think it is a good idea to base decisions on what ifs. If we should stick to looking, at the data as it stands today. If we go with a what if model, then we could say the same thing about Thanksgiving or Christmas break. I understand there are parents who are not comfortable sending their students back to school, and it is great that they have an option for full-time online. But I also know there are many families like mine who look at the risk reward, and for us, we have decided it is better to have our children in person, even part-time. I can talk specifically as a parent of a senior who understands the importance of remaining academically competitive with students all across the country as she applies to college this year, especially when there won't be any standardized test scores to submit. I think everyone on this call will admit that online learning was not a success in the spring, and even with improvement, it is no substitute for in-person learning. The AP board shortened the curriculum on the AP test in the spring for this reason. I am also becoming increasingly concerned with the mental health aspects. Our kids day by day are losing the opportunity to socialize with other kids outside their friend groups. How can we raise children who have empathy and understanding for everyone when the only contact they have is with their family and friends? School buildings provide more than just academic learning, but social and emotional learning as well. There are examples from this summer of how to bring kids back safely. Summer camp has been going on all summer long. I belong to the YMCA, so I've seen the campers inside the Y as they follow their safety plan. To date, there has been no outbreak of COVID. And I also want to note the July 4th spike was not related to children or summer camps. That's why the governor decided to shut down the capacity in the bars and the restaurants. They attributed those case count increases to people in their 20s and 30s. I truly believe that with the safety measures in place, our district can support both a hybrid model as well as a virtual learning model to provide choices for the parents in the school district. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Savage?
The next person with their hand raised is identified by the numbers 85365523389. You can state
Okay.
your name, address, and agenda item you're speaking about, please.
Hi, have you brought in the individual with the number 853? If you could please unmute your call, give us your name and address and the agenda item.
Okay, it says unmute on my phone, so I assume that's me.
No problem.
My name is Jackie Eschbach, and that's actually not my phone number, but my daughter is going to be a junior at Sun Valley, and her name is Lily Egbert. I actually support the decision of Dr. Steinhoff. I feel that we should follow the science and the medical experts at Penn and the CDC and CHOP. I feel CHOP is the number one the pediatric hospital in the country. And I don't feel that there's anything better. And I feel that we should follow the science. So I feel that, and I also feel that the hybrid program would give a disadvantage to the cyber students. My daughter was one of the ones who was going to stay home, and she would be an AP, she's an AP student. And I feel that, I'm sorry, I'm like really nervous talking. And I feel that it would just give her disadvantage because the kids that would go to school would have the real teachers, the Sun Valley teachers, and rather than the cyber program. She took a health program online last year because she had too many classes. Well, she didn't have too many classes. She took the health program, and it was really not a good cyber program. It was just all busy work. It wasn't it wasn't comparatively to the in-program classes. It was really unsatisfactory. And I feel that the online cyber class would be the same. And basically my point is we should follow the science. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next participant is Courtney Dix.
Go ahead, Ms. Dix.
Hello, thank you. This is Courtney Dix, Commerce Avenue, Brookhaven. I wanted to speak on the proposal for going forward with virtual. I'm 100% all for virtual. I had already selected cyber education for my second grader and incoming kindergartner. I do, however, have concerns about going virtual versus the cyber and keeping the kids separate. If everything goes to plan and all the kids are able to return to school on October 9th, what is going to happen with the cyber kids? Are they going to get a new teacher, which will then disrupt them 1 month into the education, versus keeping the cyber kids as the cyber kids, or even introducing the cyber teacher with their classroom teacher, so that if they return to school at the end of first, second, third, fourth marking period, they will still have a recognized teacher. But I just don't think it's fair for the cyber kids to get a new teacher 1 month into the education if we are able to return to either a full person or a hybrid model on October 9th. So I would just like you to reconsider not having the separate cyber teacher, or at least not introducing the cyber teacher. That is why we chose the cyber program, was so that if something like this happened, either at the beginning of the year, after Christmas break, after Thanksgiving break, whenever, if we had a spike and school was supposed to shut down, the cyber kids were not supposed to have an interruption. This is exactly why we chose the cyber program. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. I know how hard this is. I just would really appreciate it if you reconsider introducing a new teacher to the kids who intend to stay on cyber after October 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dix.
The next participant is Megan Killian.
Go ahead, Megan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having this meeting tonight. I'm more concerned about being a full-time working parent, working 2 jobs, having a husband who works shift work as a police officer for Aston Township. And I'm just trying to figure out how, as a full-time working parent, having a spouse who is not home 70% of the time, how am I supposed to teach my children and also be present in my work environment? Is there any way that the school district is going to fund the parents to stay home and teach their children, or are we all supposed to quit their jobs? What is the catalyst of all of this, and why October 9th? Because October 12th is Columbus Day. So what exactly is October 9th doing, and what is the significance of that date?
Yeah, my guess is October. Well, the significance of the date is it's the date that we are given by the health department. So, we agree. We wish we could have, let me speak for myself. I wish I could have students coming in the building so that they could work with our teachers in person. The health department is asking school districts to hold off until October 9th. I believe that is a Monday. So that is a date they use their experts to look at the trends, to say, when do we think that it would be safe to have students return, so that we don't bring them back too soon. If we bring students back too soon and we have an outbreak, or we have to quarantine several classes, or we have several teachers who have to quarantine, it definitely compromises our ability to get them back at the beginning of October then. It could be even later. So that's the challenge is additional 4 or 5 weeks worth doing if it pays off in getting kids back and making sure that students and staff are healthy and ready to go. We think, obviously, I agree with Chester Health Department. If Chester Health Department is saying that's the wise way to go, then I have to support that. I just don't want to question it. What I will tell you is, in terms of the issue with working parents, we're certainly sensitive to that. And we'll be working with our teachers to try to develop instruction that won't require a lot of follow-up by parents. So we know from what we heard from last spring, parents are like, I can't spend my day teaching my child. And what we're hoping is that the parents can have a caregiver that'll be able to help your child log on, and let our teachers do the work. Let them be the masters and let them work their craft. And we think that that'll provide some reassurances to staff, to parents rather, a little bit of a break, recognizing that we're not asking you this year to teach kids 5 hours a day. That's just not what we're doing. We have teachers here for a reason. They're going to teach over a screen just like I'm talking right now. and so that you can go on and do the things that you need to do. And we understand that. There's no question about it. It's not ideal. No question about it. It's not our preference, but it is what we're faced with right now, at least through October 9th. But as to why did we choose that date was chosen essentially by the health department. And we'll be looking at that at the end of September to see if, that's a go date for us, or does that need to be extended? We're really hoping it won't need to be extended.
Well, I understand October 9th, and coming from working in 10 years in healthcare, for pet medicine or rather, actually, which I kind of find funny. RSV season and flu season is really high in October. And Olivia Killian, who is going to be my 4th grader, was actually born 3 months early, and she was discharged from the NICU at Jefferson October 6th, which we were quarantined for 8 weeks when she was discharged from the NICU. To be honest with you, Dr. Steinhoff, I honestly don't think the school is going to be going back until next September, because RSV season and flu season is really high in that time of year in October. I really would like a concrete answer of when our kids are going to go back to school. I have a lot riding on them going back to school, and I have a lot of time invested in my career. And I really would like an honest answer as when you think a school is going to go back. RSV season in infants is really bad. Olivia has a compromised immune system because her celiac disease. So for me, for her to go back is more of a mental health problem. For her to be home is not good for her to be home. She had a really hard time from March until the end of school year, trying to understand why she couldn't go back. Now I have to tell you that my uncle is going to be retiring from Bethel Springs Elementary, and I really commend him from his experience and knowledge and helping me and guiding me through this experience from our shutdown. My uncle is Steve Piasecki, and he has been a really good mentor, as well as my aunt. I'm sure you know him very well, and I'm sure Ms. Phillips knows him as well. But I am really having a hard time coming from understanding where your position is for the parents who work full time. Olivia does have a lot of issues.
Okay, Ms. Killian, sorry to cut you off. We're at a 3-minute maximum, and we can only take five callers. The only thing I can say is that
I have to say that I am a tax-paying citizen, and I actually have the right to speak.
Okay, you have the right for 3 minutes, and your 3 minutes are up. We need to give other people a chance to speak. My answer to you is everyone, including the people sitting on this board, have the same exact issues. I understand that you may have different issues. We all have the same struggles to, childcare, getting our kids online, figuring out how we're going to handle it. But for the safety of the children and the direction that we're being given, it's just, it's being recommended right now that we go virtual. Thank you.
Dr. Steinhoff, if I just may interject just quickly, on the next caller, can we make sure that we get them to tell us their name and address? I think there were a few that we may have missed.
We have time for one more caller, Dr. Steinhoff.
Okay, Mr. Zebley, who would you like, Bart?
The next participant is Michelle Parkhill. Please state your name, address, and agenda item you're speaking about.
Okay, Michelle, hello.
Good job.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, thank you. My name is Michelle Parkhill. I live at 31 Bonita Drive in Aston. And I wanted to actually speak tonight regarding the decision. First, I want to say thank you for all your hard work and dedication. I know this is a really difficult task and decision that everybody has to make, and I think you guys are doing a great job. But before making this decision, I think it's really important that everybody consider the full spectrum of returning to school through a hybrid option. The downstream impacts to these children and kids in school today, I don't think are being looked at. The CDC actually recommends, from a science standpoint, that kids should be returning to school as a factor of providing necessary educational instruction, social, emotional, behavioral health issues, as well as that learning does not always fit one type of person. So virtual does not work for every person. And without having that option to be able to have a hybrid and also give the option of those who want to make the decision to return fully virtual, you know, that might be a best option for their child, but definitely not for my children. I know I have one that's on an IEP, and she lost great amount of strides in her progress over from March until the end of the year, because technically she really had no interaction with her case manager at all. And I don't want that to happen this year because she's going into 6th grade, and I actually even question if she's ready for 6th grade, to be honest. I have a senior going, or a student going into his senior year in Sun Valley, has a very difficult schedule ahead of him, physics, calculus, and I've been told by numerous teachers that it would be literally almost impossible for him to not be able to do this without having in-person instruction. So my concern primarily is that the numbers at this point, based off the Chester County Health Department, are not there to warrant a fully virtual learning environment. The numbers of cases per 100,000 is below what the recommendations are from the health department. I understand they're looking at what the uptick is from the holiday, but like I've heard other people say, then we get into Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. To be honest, I'd rather have my kids start and then actually stay home after Thanksgiving and attend virtually, because that's when you have your college students coming home and possibly bringing home the virus with them. And a lot of colleges are actually opting to be virtual from Thanksgiving on through to finish out their semesters as well. But with that, I believe this is more difficult to have certain children virtual. I think we should still be giving a hybrid model a choice to families who want to opt for that. And especially for those who know what kind of struggles their children went through the previous years. I know this is going to be different, but I do have 4 children that go through the school system right now. And I could just imagine all the Zooms going at once while I'm also required to work at home for my job. And I deal with confidential information every day because it's healthcare, HIPAA, and PHI information that, you know, if another kid hears me talking about a member in the background, they can take that information. So we'll have 6 people on Zoom at any given time, and that's going to be a big challenge. I just don't see how, I understand that the science may be there, but I don't see that backing by the numbers.
Okay, Ms. Parkhill, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're at our 3 minutes. I apologize.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parkhill.
All right, Dr. Steinoff, we're going to move on to agenda items. I'm going to ask 5.01 if Ms. O'Friedy could please read 5.01.
Sure. 5.01. The motion is Pendelco COVID-19 Pathway to Reopening Schools Health and Safety Plan Revision. The motion is the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves a revision of the Pendelco COVID-19 Pathway to Reopening Schools Health and Safety Plan, which was approved on July 29th, 2020, to indicate all Pendelco schools will begin the 2020-2021 school year in a virtual format until at least October 9th, 2020. Do I have this motion?
So moved.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 5.02, Ms. O'Friedy.
5.02 is Title IX. The motion is to approve Title IX requirements as follows. Effective August 14th, 2020, and until the school board adopts a comprehensive policy, the school district shall comply with and implement all requirements to the Title IX regulations. Number 2, any existing policies or practices that are inconsistent with or in violation of any of the requirements, terms, or condition of the Title IX regulations are hereby superseded effective August 14th, 2020. Number 3, the Assistant Superintendent, Director of Human Resources, and Director of Special Education and Pupil Services are the school district Title IX coordinators. Number 4, the superintendent hereby has the following power and authority regarding Title IX: to designate one or more Title IX coordinators, to designate one or more investigators under Title IX, to designate an initial decision maker and an initial appeal decision maker under Title IX, to designate a facilitator, to establish support measures as required by Title IX, to make arrangements for and provide required training, to amend the student code of conduct as required by Title IX, to adopt and or amend the employee code of conduct as required by Title IX, to ensure that all notices are provided, to ensure that all required postings to the website are posted, and to adopt administrative regulations that will ensure compliance with Title IX. Do I have this motion?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 6 is comments by members of the board. I will start off by telling the public, thank you very much for hanging in there with us. It's been a long road. We're doing everything that we can. Just to reiterate that we were not jumping back and forth. We have stuck with the plan that we agreed on back in July. We now have much more current updated information to go by. That is the reason that we are trying to push this off until October 9th. We did want to go back to school September 8th, but we can't go against the professionals in this situation. I know some data doesn't necessarily line up with some of the recommendations, but when the health department gives us a recommendation that we shouldn't be in school, the district would be going against everything that we are for in putting our children in harm's way. So hopefully we can get our kids back to school in October without a niche. I did see we missed a comment about sports. We do not have any update from Chessmont on sports. As soon as that comes, it will be out to the public. Any other board members?
Yeah, Leon. Oh, go ahead, Colleen.
Go ahead.
All right. So I just wanted to speak not as a board member, but as a parent of 2 boys at Sun Valley. And I can tell you, just like a lot of other parents, it's been very sad, and I'm very angry about, what happened on March 13th, that we were going to be out of school for 2 weeks. And here we are in August, and we've lost sports seasons. Today was the start of fall sports golf for my 2 sons, who are still playing Xbox and PlayStation. So I feel your pain out there, everyone. And I just want to extend a big thank you to George and his cabinet and all the staff and all the teachers. The hours that they put in since school ended, started virtually back on March 13th, have been astronomical. They're supposed to get summers off to recharge, spend time with their family, and they've been working on this thousands of hours ever since. So thank you so much. And going forward, I want to make sure that everyone supports our teachers. They are doing 10 times the work with, nobody had a class in college on virtual pandemic lesson plans, and they are doing everything they can. And I look forward to the live instruction in September. So make sure you support your teachers, and any questions about anything, our website is world class, www.pdsd.org. Don't go to Facebook and ask a question. Go there first. Our reopening website is world class. Everything's there. And you can ask questions right from there. So great job, Penn-Delco Communications Department, on our new website. You should check it out. Thank you. That's all I have.
Brian, you took the words right out of my mouth, but just so you guys know,
that, like Barney, I have one in the middle school, one in high school. This has not been an easy summer, an easy task, an easy decision. There have been pros and cons and sleepless nights, not only for myself, but I'm sure the other board members. And to sit there and ream us about our political views because we were in a room 6 foot separated, you need to just stop. Okay, like, we are all doing the best we can. These are unprecedented times. Just, I'm done.
And Mr. Armour, I'm sorry, Mr. Tinsley, you have something to say?
Sure. I mean, I don't know how I can finish off with after Mr. Seesaw does. I'll try. Something that I took from a friend of mine, actually, from my wife's actually girlfriend, and so I'm not going to say any of this. I'll babble. So I'm just taking. She's a teacher over in Jersey. Our schools should be national treasures. Our teachers should be revered. Our children's education should be our highest priority, and the future of education is in our educators. We're not the enemy. No one's the enemy for doing to what's going on now. We want things to go back to normal, just like everyone has said on this call, whether it was we want to be able to go to a concert. We want to be able to walk in the park and not have a mask on. We must recognize the incredible hard position that our administrators are in and our teachers are in, and what everybody is in is making these tough decisions. And I've prayed, I've had pros and cons list. Me personally, like I've had a very hard time with this issue. I was not elected. I did not decide to go on the school board to be the medicine expert for Pendelco. It's going to suck. It's going to suck for everyone. I mean, we saw the cons, we saw the pros. I'm not happy about it. I got 3 little people too. It's going to suck for everyone from A to Z, every single person at every single matter, whether you're just a taxpayer or whether you have 3+ children in the district. As many families there's many reasons why. This is a crappy situation. We're all going to have to figure this out. Just like Dr. Steinhoff said, we're doing the best we can. What Mr. Seesaw said, we're putting everything we possibly can on the website. If Dr. Steinhoff has to, he's not going to like this. He'll have a town hall every single night till the day after Labor Day, if that's what we need to do. We'll do whatever we need to do to make sure your at least comfort level is what it needs to be for the month, and then hopefully things will get better. Hopefully everyone recognizes on this call that we don't know. There's things we don't know, and we're relying on the experts, and hopefully there's a way of going the way we believe. So if you're a teacher, thank you. And if you know a teacher, thank them. All right, that's it. That's my 3.
Thank you, Mr. Tinsley. I did see a couple, questions, and I'll follow up that point about sports. As Mr. Armour mentioned, no decision has been made about fall sports yet. I am aware that Del Valle is canceled for fall. We are waiting to see what Chestmont and the PIAA indicates. There are meetings coming up this week to that regard. So we are currently in that wait and see mode with off-season workouts extended to September 7th. I would hope to get answers as quick as we can for the student athletes who want to know what's happening. And there are in some other states, they've taken fall sports and they've moved them to the new year, and you have compressed 2-month seasons. That's a nice way to at least make sure that our kids don't lose the whole fall season. That's one option, but we really have to wait and see what PIAA decides in response to the governor's recommendation, what the Chestmont League decides, and I'll continue to work with Mr. Rafferty to make sure that we do what's safe for kids and what's right. So I understand what some parents say. I don't get how districts are going virtual and sports are still allowed. I understand that question very much, but we're also just kind of waiting to see what the lead is from PIAA and do what we can to support our kids and be safe in the process. And finally, I really want to mention that certainly follow up with the point about our staff. And we had last week a really large number of staff that for 2 days participated in training so that when teachers come back, they can train, as a trainer model, they can then go out and explain how to use Nearpod, how to use a lot of the new tools that we purchased to make online learning better. And, Mr. Kamika and our administrators, a great turnout from our teachers who are doing that. They want this to work. They do not want our kids to fall behind. They are ready to work however they can. And, our association has been great. The leaderships have been talking with me. We've been trying to figure out what model we can put in place to really work hard in this regard. And they have been very supportive. And school boards like ours, I think should never have been in a predicament to have to make a call on health and safety. You should not be the referee on balls and strikes when the matter involves health and safety. And school boards around the region have been put in that position. Honestly, I think it's very unfair. I think it's very unfair because we know half would like to see kids go back to school, the other half want to stay home. So it was a lose-lose situation for everyone. But I would say in the end, I often think we judge ourselves by our intentions and we judge other people by their actions. And it's an unfair dichotomy. We judge ourselves by our intentions. This is what I wanted to do, but we judge other people by their actions. This is what I saw them do. And I think it's important for all of us to judge everybody by their intentions. And in Pendelco, what I see all the time are people whose intentions are really good. We love our kids. We want the best for them. We're frustrated. We're tired of this COVID. But in the end, I think we need to rally around the fact that our intentions are all the same. We really want good things for kids. And how we get there, we might differ on. But we all want really good things for kids. And that's what I pledge to. And I know that's what our board pledges as well. To get kids as back as we can once we're allowed to do that safely, to support our teachers and support our support staff when they come back so that we can keep them safe and just get back to normal as quick as we possibly can. And in the meantime, we're going to support kids and make the experience as fun as possible. I trust that our teachers will do that. I really do. We've got a great group here. I really trust that. And again, recognize too, that this board, like all school boards, is put in a really difficult place. They were given directions by medical experts. Hard for them to overrule that, even though in their hearts they feel like they want to see our schools open up to kids, and as I do too. So I want to thank them for taking it seriously all along. They never just said whatever you want. They have been waiting for the data, and they have been waiting for the substantiated information, doing exactly what we expect school boards to do. And I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate you coming together tonight. Thank you, Mr. Armour.
Dr. Steinhoff, I just have one last question. Hopefully you can give us some insight on it from the board's perspective. What type of medical metrics are we looking at to get us to a hybrid model? And will we have the staff to have in-person classes when that happens? I know you've told us that as of now, that we don't have we wouldn't have a staffing issue in foreseeable. But what type of metrics are we looking at if we don't get any guidance in the future?
Sure. What I have been told is that in terms of the metrics, the Chester County Health Department is using positivity rates, numbers of positive cases, and trends. So there's those three elements. And for people who are interested in it, I believe they can see it every Friday. That information is released. I certainly will bring that information back to the school board. Again, I was in a place to question how they came up with their determination, but Mr. Armour, I've been told, is primarily positivity rates, trends, total number of cases. In terms of staffing, should we come back to hybrid? I think we have a lot of staff who do have children, and they may have to look at the FFCRA option, which is a federal leave option that's provided to any employee. They may have to take a look at that if their school districts happen to be out, for the semester. But I know that they're working hard not to have to deal with that. But it is an issue that every school district is trying to work through right now, is how do we adequately staff our schools when they have their own child care responsibilities as well. So, they would figure that out, or they want to take advantage of the leave option that they have. That's a legal right. And we're trying to accommodate, all of them, recognizing that that's an option that's out there. It could be a challenge for us. So we're trying to build up our substitute list. And at the same time, I think our teachers are really trying to get things in place for when that time comes, can they get back to school and work? Anything else, Mr. Armour?
No, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Starnhoff. Hopefully if we can get back to school October 9th, that is a countywide situation and we all go together. Hopefully it'll lessen the burden for everyone. So number 7 is future meetings. We will not be conducting the meeting this Thursday as we had moved it to tonight. Our next meeting is August 26th, the regular board meeting, which will be Zoom. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you.